Our next speaker, Patrick Ketchum. I think Patrick has been involved with plenty of Stolly Oscars because he's in the political world. Our next speaker is going to inspire you by sharing the story of one of his heroes. He may become one of your heroes too. This is Project 3 from the Competent Communicator Manual. It's 5 to 7 minutes. Patrick will share his convictions that your most important characteristics cannot be measured with a test or numbers. The startling presentation titled "Who Would Invest in You?" Please join me in welcoming Patrick Ketchum.
At the graduation ceremonies of one of the most prestigious colleges in the United States, the MBA program, there was invited to the stage to speak an old man. He was not a Snollygoster. He was the greatest investor in the world, but he was an old man. And so he walked slowly to the stage and took his place at the podium. And he said to the students, he asked them a question. He said, if I gave you the opportunity to invest a 10% stake in any one of your fellow classmates, who would you choose? That was a really interesting question. This was Warren Buffett, second richest man in the world, who was asking his students that. And I thought of one of my heroes and who would have invested in her early in her life. Her name was Rosa Blumkin. And she was a little Jewish girl from Russia who dreamed of going to the United States. When she was 13 years old, she decided she needed to make some money for her travels. And so she walked 18 miles to the next town, barefoot, no shoes. She wanted to save the leather on the soles of her shoes. And when she got there, she looked for a job. So she knocked on door after door after door. After 26 doors, she finally found a warehouse who would give her a job, who would give her a chance, this little 13-year-old girl. 3 years later, she was running the show. 6 married men were working under little Rosa Blumkin. She was very hardworking. She had these attributes that Warren Buffett described as not quantitative, but qualitative. If you're going to invest in somebody 10%, you're not going to look at their GPA. You're not going to look at their IQ. You're not going to administer a test and see who has the 180. You're going to look for qualitative attributes like character, like hard work, like ambition. And these are things that Rosa Blumkin had to spare. By the time World War I was over, she and her new husband decided to make her dream come true and go to the United States, finally. And they did. When she got there, she had such a hard time learning English that they went to a community where there were a lot of people who spoke Russian and Yiddish, Omaha, Nebraska. Her husband opened a pawn shop because pawn shops never fail, except for during the Great Depression. Rosa stayed at home, had a baby, and then another, and then another. And decided it's time for me to contribute to this family. And so she told her husband, clear the basement out in your pawn shop. I'm using it for my business. And she started selling furniture. And she was fair with her customers. Her motto was, sell cheap and always tell the truth. She sold at a 10% profit. So cost plus 10%. The other furniture stores hated Rosa Blumkin. But she said it's better to be hated than to be pitied. And she excelled incredibly. It took her years and it was a struggle. She worked herself 6.5 days a week as a mother of 3 children to grow this business year after year after year. But we all know good timber does not come from ease. The stronger the wind, the stronger the trees. The farther the sky, greater the length. The more the storm, the more the strength. And that's something that Rosa had. She had strength. She'd gone through these trials. And by the time she was an old woman, 95 years old, it was the largest furniture store in Omaha, in Nebraska, in the Midwest. People came from miles around to shop from Rosa Blumkin. One day, an investor walked into her door and said, "Rosa, I want to buy your shop." She'd been looking to sell to someone. It was Warren Buffett. He wanted a 90% share in Rosa Blumkin's furniture store. And he paid her $55 million. Now, those folks who might have had a chance to invest in Rosa Blumkin at the beginning, a 10% stake, would be weeping right now if they didn't do it. They would be worth millions and millions of dollars. Because she had these three attributes: character, ambition, hard work. That was Rosa Blumkin. And so Warren Buffett didn't even want an audit of the store. He said, "I'm not going to count your furniture or your carpets or your appliances. I'm just going to take your word for it. It's all here." She was an honest person. Everyone knew it. Thomas Jefferson says, or he said, "Honesty is the first chapter in the book of wisdom." And so they shook hands on it, and that was it. And everyone thought Rosa Blumkin's, her career is kind of over. She's going to work in the store, but she's an old woman. Not so. One day, while working in the store still with her 10% ownership, she got into a tiff with a few of her grandsons, who had the nerve to try to overrule Rosa when it came to purchasing carpets. What did she do? She walked out of the store. Did she go home? Nope. She started a competing furniture store with her old one at the age of 95. This store, after 3 years, was a lot smaller, but pound for pound is a lot more profitable than her old store. And finally, Warren Buffett, 90% shareholder, and her sons, humbly, with roses and chocolate, approached Rosa and said, "We'd like to buy it back." And she said, "Okay, I think it's time." So this 98-year-old woman sold her new store for another $5 billion. If you had invested in Rosa Blumkin, it would have been unlikely, but you would have been worth millions and millions of dollars, because she had these attributes that you cannot quantify, but that everyone can attain in their own lives. In fact, the truth is that you're not able to invest in anybody 10% share in their whole lives. Right? You probably pick the person who had these attributes, but we really can't do that. The only people that we can truly invest in, and in fact that each one of you has an investment in right now, is yourselves. You have a 100% stake in your own life. And the best way to get the highest return from that investment is to cultivate these attributes of honesty, of hard work, and of ambition. And if you do that, you will get the best payout for all of your investment.